everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. How are you guys today? I hope you're doing okay. You definitely deserve it. Today, I just wanted to sit and talk about this Commonplace spread that I did, talk a little bit about commonplacing for the sake of getting things done. And I wanted to talk a lot about nature and my recent experiences with kind of the nature and the earth. And so throughout this video you'll see excerpts of one of my walks to the nearby parks where I'm staying. And so I had this YouTube video come up on my recommended multiple times. It's been in like my little suggested for probably 2 or 3 weeks now, and I just didn't click on it. It sounded interesting to me. The title was like rewilding a forest or something, and it had like this, the thumbnail was like kind of an older lady with like a basket in her hands, and I was like, it does look interesting, but I don't know, I just didn't click on it. Sometimes I feel like I have to be in the mood to watch particular videos, but it was really late one night. I was not quite tired enough to go to bed. So I finally clicked on it, decided to watch it, and it ended up being like one of the most comforting little short documentaries ever. And it is about an older lady who lives in the woods in Sweden, and she makes art out of fallen sticks, and she is trying to bring back trees to her family's land after a bark beetle infestation. And she talks a little bit about, the lumber industry and how monocultures can be really dangerous, and she just kind of started bringing trees. Like, she would take trees by electrical lines or by the side of the road where she knew that they weren't going to grow, or that they would be eventually cut down if they interfered with the electrical wires. And she just started rehoming them on the land. And it kind of talks about her anxiety of like, is this a good thing that I'm doing? Is this a bad thing? And it just was really comforting. She has a really soft, wonderful voice, and the director did a great job of showcasing her quirkiness as well as her passion for nature, and showing that we can do things for the earth, and not all human intervention is bad. It's just it was really comforting. And she has instead of a Facebook account, I think she does technically have a Facebook because she's an artist, but I don't think that she's on it. I think someone runs it for her art. But she calls her journals like we would call our Commonplace books or our sketchbooks. She calls her sketchbooks and her journals Facebook. And it was just the funniest little thing. And I totally recommend it. I will link it down below if you guys want to watch it. A 10 out of 10 recommend. Another random thing that was suggested to me lately was Aurora put out a new song, and it said it was By Nature featuring Aurora, and I was like, I've never heard of that band. So I clicked on it, and apparently I have not read anything about this, but if you've heard about it or learned more about it or think this is interesting, like, go ahead and tell me about it down in the comments. But apparently, I guess somewhere in Europe, they created a music artist that they're calling Nature, and they're using nature sounds, kind of like the ambient stuff that we listen to, and they are using the proceeds from all of the listens and all of the watch time to give back to nature conservatory programs. So a couple of bands did like a collaboration song. I think there's like 6. I know Ellie Goulding did one. I haven't heard that one, but I listened to the one by Aurora, and it was just, again, it was kind of just like coming home. It was very soft, and I tell people all the time that my music taste is music that either makes me feel like I am floating and being like ascended to another realm, or music that makes me feel like I'm being buried in soil. Not because I'm dead, but just because I'm just covered in soil and like one with the earth. So the new Aurora song felt very, I'm covered in earth now and I'm home and I'm cozy, and there's something a little whimsical or dark or a little bit, I guess, witchy about it. Yeah, I've just been having a lot of experiences lately that remind me how much I love nature and how nature is so good for curing anxiety. And right, they've proven that with scientists like a bunch now. But we still don't do it, or we still don't think about it. And just the other day I don't know if I was feeling anxious, but I kept looking out the window, and it was like dusk and it was purple outside, and it was one of those times where it was just that lovely shade of like pale dusty lavender purple, and I just kept looking outside, and I was like, I think I want to go out there. So I went outside, and it was like what I call the perfect temperature. And these kind of moments, what I'm about to describe, can actually sometimes really trigger my dissociation, but sometimes they feel also very connective and wonderful. And I was lucky it was one of the nights where it felt very surreally beautiful and wonderful, because it was the temperature outside where it's not anything notable. Excuse me. It's not hot, it's not cold, you're just kind of there, and that sky was that in-between color, and I just laid back on the grass, started taking really deep breaths, and I looked up and I realized that you can see that the earth is a sphere just by looking at the sky. And around that time of day, and you see that at the very top, it's like a dusty gray blue, and it kind of fades, and it kind of looks like there's a very hazy cloud or fog, and it kind of fades into this purple, but you can see by the shading, as weird as that sounds, how it's darkest at the very center of the circle. You almost feel like there's a dome of fog or clouds descending. And then the moon was also very pretty. It wasn't a full moon, but it was like, I think it was a half moon. And I just laid there for a long time. The crickets came out, they sang to me, the birds were chirping before bedtime. It was just a really lovely moment, and I left kind of with that. If you've ever done yoga, or if you've ever gone running and you've experienced what I call a yoga high or a running high, where your nervous system is just so completely reset, calm, you're full of those like endorphins that make you almost euphoric. That's how I felt just by sitting in the grass for like 45 minutes, watching the stars come out, listening to crickets, and kind of watching the sky fade to black. I went inside, and my grandparents were like, "You look sleepy." And I was like, "I feel great. This is wonderful." So that was lovely. And then I've also been to one of the parks here quite a few times, and it always baffles me because right now I'm in the Midwest, the South, whatever you want to call it, and I never get over how nice people are here. And so I was, I'm going on like this walk through this nature preserve. I don't know if I would call it hiking, but everyone just says hello to you. And an older man, he saw me taking pictures, and he was like, "Oh, are you a freelance photographer?" And I was like, "No, I just like taking pictures of nature. Like, I love nature, and I like taking pictures of everywhere I travel." And he was like, "Oh, where are you?" And it just kind of started a conversation. And where I'm from, on the East Coast, people don't do that. Like, you don't talk to people where I'm from. If you see someone hiking, you kind of nod, and you might smile in acknowledgement, but that's all. You don't talk. And so it's really refreshing that when you're where I am now, if I have a question for someone, or if I like someone's outfit, or if I can just go up to people and just kind of start a conversation, and no one thinks it's weird, and everyone's really open about it and very friendly, which is very reassuring. And then I am almost done with braiding sweetgrass. It's taken me 2 or 3 months to finish this. I have about 100 pages left. I've been reading about an essay or two every day. So I definitely have, what am I on? I am on burning sweetgrass, which is the last section. And I thought I would share, if you guys have a copy of the book or ever get a chance, I thought I'd tell you what some of my favorite essays are. I have bookmarked An Offering, Asters and Goldenrod. I'm flipping through it right now. Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this one. I'm not gonna read the first part, but it's the 2 native words and then the teachings of grass. And then Sitting in a Circle, which actually almost made me cry. Just with how wholesome and beautiful it was. And then the latest one that I've bookmarked is Witness to the Rain. And I love rain. I'm a water girly. I love rain. Rain has always been very, very important to me and very refreshing and cleansing to me and freeing. It's kind of like, it was my release of emotions when I was younger, when I had no other place to do it. I would go stand in the rain and I would just let it wash over me, and it was so therapeutic. So her essay, Witness to the Rain, I read it and I was like, this is a love letter to rain. And I've just been thinking about love letters. I mean, the whole book, it feels like a love letter to nature. It feels like a love letter to the earth. And that makes me kind of emotional, and I love it. I love the earth. I love the earth. That's all. But yeah, anyway, also the cat has sort of joined us, so if you hear anything, that's probably why. But yeah, just thinking a lot about nature lately and stuff like that. That nature is a safe space, and it's a safe space for so many. And it is just a place to kind of let your inner child out, kind of go exploring, especially I was in a nature preserve, so it was like a certain amount of acres that's like protected in a very safe area of town. So it was kind of, especially when you're in a very safe area and you're not really that far from civilization, you can kind of really let your inner child out and go exploring. But yeah, so we're on the section of the page where we are journaling about and reflecting about what we've commonplaced about, which I kind of did in the beginning, but I have noticed lately that I have not had the urge to commonplace as much. And then, Sunday rolls around and I'm like, oh crap, I need to do something for a video for Wednesday. And then, today is Wednesday. I commonplaced this page today. I'm recording the voiceover today, and I'm doing the editing today, and I'm going to try and get it posted at my usual time, which is usually I either do 3:33 p.m. Central or 2:22 p.m. Central, which is 3:33 p.m. Eastern. So usually that's how I do it, but I haven't been having the urge and the want to commonplace enough. And it's not that I'm not interacting with media the same, because I'm still watching YouTube. I'm not watching YouTube as much actually, but I'm still reading books. I'm still coming across really interesting articles when I am on Instagram, or I've just been having a lot of interesting conversations with my grandparents too, and just random things have been coming up. But I've just kind of been trying to be hesitant about making sure that I'm not commonplacing just for the sake to commonplace. I don't want to ever do something because I feel obligated to do it. And I think, not to get too deep into it, you've heard a bunch of influencers and people on the internet or anyone who makes content say this before, even in marketing. It can get really hard and you can lose passion quickly if you are creating any form of content or art or anything for the sake of doing it and getting it out and remaining consistent. So I don't think it's not that I've seen anything have not seen anything interesting lately. I think it's just yeah, and my book is starting to get really chunky, and I was kind of looking back on some of my pages, and I'm like, I don't think I would commonplace about this now. I don't think, and I don't know, I think maybe in 50 or 40 years, if I'm alive, or my children, they might go through, or my nieces or nephews, they might go through some of these pages and just think, they might find stuff that's interesting to them, or be very fascinated that I did decide to commonplace something and print it out and actively, make a beautiful spread about it. But me personally looking back, I'm like, was that a waste of paper? Was that a waste of time? And, only time can answer that. Right now, I'm not very happy with some of my older pages, and so I've just been trying to be more careful and only commonplacing when when something really moves me. Like this video that I commonplaced about actually just left me feeling so comforted and inspired and warm that I was like, yeah, I have to commonplace about this. I don't necessarily feel that way about some of my older pages. So yeah, just kind of being mindful of that. Not even for any environmental reasons. Like, yes, I'm cutting out paper and I'm using paper in a journal and I'm using ink, but just for the fact of like, we should only do things that inspire us. And we should never feel obligated to do anything. You should only ever do things because you want to do them. Of course, aside from like adult obligations, unfortunately. Sometimes we have to do stuff we don't want to, and for the sake of our relationships and stuff, if our partner, if our friend really wants to do something and we're not interested, we should still do it because we love them. But I mean, hobby-wise, you should never do something that you should never do it because you feel like you have to. Things come and go in your interests. I think I always will commonplace. I will always journal. I will always write. This is a random little sidebar, but if you remember a while ago, I commonplaced about perfume, and that was because I was writing a book where, a character gave another character perfume, and I'm so extra and obsessive that I went and tried to find a perfume, but I actually went out and bought it, so now I own the perfume that I commonplaced about that makes me think of my characters. So I only got a travel size because I don't wear perfume a lot, and you can hear more about my opinions about perfume and all that good stuff in that video. I'll link it down below if you are interested. I know my journaling videos, when I do top down of my personal journal, don't do as well, and I think that's something that I'm just gonna have to live with, if that makes sense. Yeah, I gotta make content that fuels me and is not feeling like an obligation. Otherwise, you guys are going to be able to tell eventually that it's not authentic anymore. But if there's any other sort of videos you want to do, please let me know. I know we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you. If you guys have any video ideas for how we should celebrate, please feel free to comment down below. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A. I don't know if anyone wants to ask me any questions. Or if there's any other videos, if you want to see kind of more vlog content. I'm really bad at vlogging and I don't really leave my house often, but we can try and figure it out. But if you guys, just any sort of idea, if you like when I include vlog content in the Commonplace videos, let me know. If you want to hear more about books I'm reading, let me know. Just because I want to make sure that you guys are interested in feeling entertained and feeling like you have a safe space here on the internet. Something that you can keep your company with while you work on your own notebooks or your own art, your own hobbies, or while you study or do homework, while you cook dinner, anything you want to. I love baking. Maybe we should do a baking video once I finally get a kitchen, a kitchen that's mine. I officially have a move date for when I am making the second half of my move, so that's exciting. And also nerve-wracking, but hey. I also wanted to, while I'm here, shout out a creator that I've been loving their journal spreads. I do not know their pronouns, so I'm gonna go with they, them. I think it's either that. I should check. I'm gonna check. Beloved Apollo on Tumblr. They create beautiful spreads and they're so very interesting, and they also just have an eye for photography, and for beauty. So I'm gonna link them down below too. You should check them out. Join us on the Tumblr gang. Tumblr is quite a place. It's pretty small. It's not ever gonna be as big as like Instagram or TikTok or something, but it's for a bunch of little niche weirdos, and I'm a little niche weirdo sometimes, so I've run out of things to say. Anyway, I might go back. I do the voiceover last, or semi-last, so I might go back and shorten this video to match my voiceover, because I don't want to keep you guys here just to keep you here. You guys have valuable time. You have things to be doing, so I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely day. You 100% deserve it, and I will see you guys next time. Go ahead and leave some comments about any kind of content you want to see, and your wish is my command.